Welcome back to the Standing Room Only podcast. This is episode number 127. As always, you can follow our social media page at SR Only Pod. Uh, we post on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. Follow us there. You can follow our personal pages. Mine is at the Healy6.
I am iGoose with 4 O's. Hit that follow button. Let's talk sports. We got a nice little slate for you guys today. Got some NBA, some MLB, some NFL news. I think we should
Yeah,
get started
and
with
a
the
lot of it's
MLB.
not great.
It's not and it is. They're
It's good
hot
for us because we
topics.
can talk about it, but it's not great for the players.
Not great at all. And we don't have any crazy trades to talk about, not yet. But let's get started with the MLB. We saw recent news. One of probably America's or just MLB fans, one of their favorite players, Fernando Tatis Jr. He gets suspended for 80 games for PEDs, tested positive. It's coming out that apparently it could have been something in a product he was taking for his hair, at least according to Senior. Don't know if that is the case. Don't know what I believe.
Yeah, at first Fernando Tatis Sr. came out and said it was something for his hair, and then another report came out when it originally happened. They thought it was something for a ringworm that he had, and they
Yep.
tried playing that up. But the thing that you use for ringworm it wasn't even spelled the same. It started off similar with CLO, but it had more letters in it, and it wasn't even like a steroid thing in general. So the thing he took was a steroid. It was meant for muscle growth. It wasn't meant for him to come back from injury or whatnot. And it's a shame. One of baseball's young stars. He got a massive contract. He also hurt himself in the off season riding a motorcycle. That's kept him out for over half the year. He was supposed to come back any day now. He just had a rehab start. He had a double, he had a triple, and now he's suspended for the rest of the year, and it's going to go into next season. And it's just he was one of my favorite guys. He was a lot of people's favorite player, and he is the mold of like an Alex Rodriguez, which funny how he's going down the same road, but he
A little
was
younger.
fast,
Yeah.
he was strong, he was a taller shortstop. And now his career, at least for now, is going to be severely tainted.
We know what happens when you test positive and you get suspended. We have seen the likes of Barry Bonds and others not even in the Hall of Fame because of positive tests. Some guys not even that are linked to it without positive tests. He is 23 years old. And unfortunately, for the next 10, 15 years of his MLB career, which could be as successful as they come, now everybody's going to wonder, wow, you tested positive for steroids to get to that point. And it makes you wonder, did he know? Did he not know? To me, and we talk about it a lot. And it's funny because on our last episode, we talked about his rehab. And we talked about him coming back, and it was just a short few days later, suspended for 80 games. My take on this is you're a professional athlete. You make enough money. You make a lot of money, right? You have financial advisors, you have an agent. To me, there's athletes who pay so much money just so that they know they hire nutritionists. They know what's going in their body. They want to make sure they're playing until they're in their 40s. We see it. We see it with LeBron spends over $1 million a year on his nutrition and his health. My thing is, if you are a professional athlete, you should know what you're taking, especially if somebody's prescribing you something. They generally will tell you. I've never gone to the doctor and have gotten prescribed steroids without them telling me it's a steroid. Like, they tell you, oh yeah, just so you know, you're having an issue here. We're gonna give you this. It's steroid. And it could be it could be for so many different things, and they'll tell you. Me, if I get told that, my eyebrows are going up. Oh, it's a steroid. What is this? Let me look at a banned let me check out a banned substance list to make sure I can take this. Or let me, because I'm rich and famous and I'm a pro athlete and I just signed this huge deal, let me call somebody who's going to be able to get me the answer that I need, because that should be my thought process. Now, is he going to lose out on his hundreds of millions of dollars? No. But does it tarnish his career? Yes, it does. I'm doing a, this is side note, I'm doing a physique competition in April, May, natural bodybuilding. You get tested. I know a list of what I can and cannot have in my body. So there are products I will look at and will not look at. So if I get something from a doctor for whatever reason, say I hurt my back, right? And I can't lift, can't do anything, I'm going to know what I can have and what I can't have. So, and that kind of goes along lines as a professional of any sport, you just got to know what is going in your body and if that's okay. So it's hard to believe that this was an issue for ringworm and he's just like, "Oh, okay." And if it was, then damn, I feel bad regardless. He's only 23 years old.
I think he needs better people around him, because as we knew earlier, he got hurt in the off season. He has better people around him. He would not be riding motorcycles and getting hurt and being reckless. Also, the fact that they tried covering it up by quick thinking and being like, "Oh, this thing's associated with the ringworm," and trying to get that as like the cause of it when it wasn't even correlated or the right substance, that's bad. And to also think his dad at one time was linked on the Mitchell report and was teammates with Mark McGuire. He may have had an influence, and due to people he knew, they might have been trying to help him out. And especially when you get paid millions of dollars, you have all that pressure to perform.
It makes you wonder, especially at that age too. It's kind of a weird, I feel like it's a weird time to start taking that, but also maybe not really, because your body's really developing and you're blasting, you're maximizing your testosterone and so on and so forth. I agree with you. Maybe it's who's in his corner. I mean, I don't see how it wouldn't be, but that's a bummer. I was excited. They go out and make the splash. They get
Yeah, get Juan
Soto.
Soto. We were
Like,
expecting a
come
huge
on,
playoff
man.
run. And I feel bad for my friend who, I don't know if it's hurting him money wise, but before the pandemic, he went out there, bought a bunch of Fernando Tatis cards. Their value skyrocketed due to COVID, and the values absolutely tanked on the cards.
Oh yeah. I mean, at this
People
point,
aren't going to touch them now.
and it makes you wonder. So he gets suspended, and I don't know the science behind it. What if he comes back and he's tested and he's clean and he's hitting 50 home run seasons, 10 seasons in a row, something crazy that we've never seen, right?
Hmm.
I feel like everybody's always gonna be like, yeah, but he takes steroids. Like that's always gonna be there. It doesn't go away. When we think of Barry Bonds or we think of Mark McGuire, all right, Juice. I think of Juice.
Or
And
A-Rod.
A
A-Rod,
Rod.
A-Rod, though, he got tested early on. I'm a believer if A-Rod didn't get suspended in 2016, he may have been in the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
They may
absolutely.
have pushed that away, his early on test, because he did end up playing like a full career afterwards and was one of the best players ever, and him being in the media and being like a nice guy may have helped him out. But that late test, now you're like, "Oh, I don't know how good his career is now.
Because he
How
he
clean."
tested positive before. Was that when
2003. Yeah.
Texas?
Yes.
Yep. He was a monster. What game came out that he was the cover on? Was that
Slugfest.
Slugfest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a fun game. Um yeah, I mean that's the reality. That's the sad reality. And it's not just baseball. It's any sport. It's a PED. It's a performance enhancing drug. It's banned, and I think Fernando Tatis has a lot of time to recover given his age. Given his age. You do look at his 47 home run season, you're like, okay. Let's see what he does moving forward. I think that's going to be the biggest thing because he's 23. He's young, man. He's a baby, right? He's 23 years old. He's a kid. He's going to learn. I think what is going to be the telling tale about it is going to be his perseverance because this, not only did you have the accident, you got hurt, you're coming back, and this happens. Okay, now this is twice within a year something. You're in the news again, dude. You're in the news again. You're 23 years old. There's a lot of pressure. Let's see that bounce back. I think that bounce back is going to be bigger than the actual setback. I think that he's got a lot to go, a lot to prove, and I think he's going to do it. And it's going to speak volume compared to this mishap.
Yeah,
I'm still rooting for him.
I am too. I hope he figures this out. I do have a question to propose though. You did talk
Okay.
about how much guaranteed money he has. I think in the future, maybe in the collective bargaining agreement or something, there should be a clause where if you end up getting suspended, your contract could then not be fully guaranteed and there could be a cutoff point.
Yeah, I
Like, I
agree.
don't see them cutting Tatis, but let's say he gets caught and they're like, all right, now instead of your 13-year, $350 million deal, it's only going to be like a 4-year, $80 million deal.
I think when it comes to PEDs, especially, yes. Now, is he suspended without pay? I believe
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah,
So he's still losing a lot of money. 80 games is a lot, like when
it
you're making
is.
that much.
But
Now, is it pennies?
his contract's backloaded.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that pennies compared to what he is gonna make? Absolutely. So I do agree though, but they can add a clause. So I think it will be moving forward. Hey, we're gonna make you a half a billionaire. This is not even including any endorsements you're gonna get on the side. That'll make you closer to a billionaire, right? But here's the thing: just don't fuck up. And here's how: A, B, and C. These are the clauses. One, don't get sexual misconduct in any way, shape, or form. Okay, because now none that's automatic. Nothing's guaranteed. We're probably gonna cut you. Two, if you test positive for PEDs, we take a quarter of that. Now only 75% is guaranteed because you still want to have motivation, right? You still want to I mean, that's the whole point of giving somebody a big deal is how is this going to help our franchise in the future? How can we keep this guy motivated, keep the morale up in the locker room? How, a guy that's going to bring the energy and maybe and hopefully a World Series or a championship, whatever the sport is. So you don't want to take too much, but I think there should be a clause that says, "Hey, I want you to think twice about this. You're going to lose a lot of money if you fuck up." So I agree. I agree. On top of obviously the MLB or the NFL or the NBA suspending you without pay for those 80 games.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Do want to talk about another contract though. Michael Harris, the Braves are just they're being very smart and they are setting themselves up for a probably like a 90s run that they had way back in the day. They signed Acuna to like a 10-year deal. They signed Ozzy Albies to a 7-year deal. Matt Olson to an 8-year deal. Austin Riley is like a 10-year, $200 million deal. And now Michael Harris, who let me get the exact numbers here. Michael Harris, who is a rookie, he has played 72 games, and I think he didn't even play AAA in his career. He got up to AA. This was the first year of him playing in AA. He went to the majors. He got signed to a 8-year, $72 million deal with 2 additional options on top of that to make it a 10-year, $107 million deal.
That's like I know we had talked about it briefly. We talk about this, and it makes sense to get at the young guys this large number of money because we
Mhm.
don't know what's going to happen. I mean, look at who's the player we bring up every once in a while that signed the massive deal and ended up adding like a 105 for the rest of his career? Who is that?
Jason Hayward.
Jason Hayward is one of them,
Chris
but who is the
Davis.
Chris Davis, Baltimore Orioles? You see, they went all in, right? In a way, they're going all in on a guy that's only played 70 games, and we see it with other players, right? You're giving them all this money, and they're like, "Whoa, I don't know which way my career is gonna go because I don't. It's not even going anywhere
Hmm.
yet. I'm just getting started." Do you take the guaranteed money of 100 mil? 100 million is a lot of money. A lot of people don't see a million in their life, right? Or a couple of million or whatever it may be. So not only are they giving him a very player friendly deal at this point, it may not be a player friendly deal in 2 to 3 years if he's really one of the best in the league, but it solidifies the run that they could potentially have, which makes it worth it for these guys. And they can always reconstruct contracts. But that's one of the things I always say is in these leagues, if I was in the franchise, in the organization, I had control over contracts. We always ask, how do teams afford $1 billion payroll? Easy. You're going to front load a portion of the players. You're going to backload the other portion of the players. Some are going to be, and there's ways to do it. There's ways to do it. And what Atlanta's doing is they're basically taking what they know as being very, very good talent. They actually have a few really, really good players. Like Acuna has a really bright future. I like Riley quite a bit. And he got a really good deal. And Ozzy and some of those other guys, but they play well together. The team is a good team. They made a nice comeback this season. Now imagine having that same team for the next 8 years. I think that's
Yeah.
incredible. And they're not overpaying, but these guys are getting enough money to where
They're
they're like,
getting more
hey,
than their value at the moment, too.
and that's what it is. They're being oversold on current value with the expectation that one, the value of anything's going to go up, right? Like there's more money in the world than we've ever seen over in the last 2 years alone. The most money's been printed, right? So there's more money that's going to go around. There's more deals, TV deals. There's just everything's going up. And they're getting these guys at this value here, and they're making it look good because it is really good, right?
Hmm.
But in 3 to 4 years, is it good?
No.
Probably not. Probably not.
And like Michael Harris, let's say he ends up being sick because he is a very good defender and he's hitting pretty well. If he would still have to play another 6 years before he hits free agency. He may earn like $50 million in that time. And it's like, do you want to play 6 years, earn 50, and then over the next 4, earn an extra $50 million on top of what you already have and earn 150 million over 10 compared to 100? It's like, no, he could end up getting hurt this season, being out for a full year, come back, not play well, and then he's still going to get $100 million. He's locked up. He doesn't have to. He's getting paid. I don't know how it's filtered over the next few years, but instead of the next 3 years, he earns 500,000, 500,000, 750,000. He will earn like 10 million. And then when he goes to arbitration, let's say he's an average player, they might get him for $3 million. Nope. He's going to get like $10 million on average.
Yeah, and one more thing to look at. I just had a look. Dude's 21 years old.
Yeah.
So if he is as good as the potential, right? And okay, maybe he got stiffed in his first 10 years. Think about a lot of baseball guys in the league, they don't end up hitting the bigs till their mid 20s.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is going to be fully seasoned, full vet by the time
31
he's
years.
31 years old, has a whole nother career into him. He has another 5 more solid years, give or take. Some guys retire a little bit earlier, some
And
guys last a
contracts are
little
only going to be
longer.
bigger at that point.
So to me, if you look at it, it's a win-win situation. It's a win for Atlanta. It's a win for Michael Harris. 21 years old with that much money. And I mean, he's obviously showing potential. He's showing a lot of potential so far. So
Yeah.
And me, Atlanta being my second favorite team, I'm not just saying that because they just won. I've been saying it since day one on the podcast. I've always been an Atlanta fan. I'm excited.
And
I'm
definitely
very excited.
helps with Atlanta. They're taking, I would say, I would call these low risk deals as well. They already know Acuna's potential. They already know Ozzy Albies, what you're going to get out of him. Austin Riley, you're seeing what he can do, but it's not guaranteed. Michael Harris, you see the potential in him. He could be amazing, or he could end up being average. But if one of these deals don't work out, it's not going to hurt them in the long run. Like I said, Harris has 2 option years for $35 million at the end of his contract. They might only end up paying 8 years, $72 million. And let's say he's off the team or something, he's counting on the payroll, $9 million. Is that going to hurt them? No, they're going to be paying a lot of money regardless for the team, and they have a lot of room. Also, what they could end up doing. You remember Rusney Castillo?
I don't.
So he was a big league player. He got paid for the Red Sox. He got paid $70 million before he even like played a big league game.
Wow.
The Red Sox, due to a loophole, it kind of cost him a major league career, but he's earning $70 million. I think he's fine. If you are not on the main roster or the 40 man, your pay doesn't count towards the payroll and the luxury tax. So these guys end up not being great. They could pull a Red Sox, have them in the minors off the 40 man. No one's going to claim them because why would you pay $9 million for a minor league player? And they'd play in the minors while not even counting towards the payroll.
Interesting how that works because you're still paying.
Yeah.
You're still paying him. That's like Bobby. Oh, who is that still gets paid every July 1st
Oh, Bobby
from the Mets?
Bonilla. But
Yeah.
that's in the contract for like Albert Pujols is going to get millions of dollars after he's done.
Yeah.
He's getting paid by the Angels for that. So it's in a lot of
Yeah.
contracts now. It's just funny because Bobby Bonilla got way more money because of I can't remember the correct word for deferring the payments.
There's some bad contracts in the league. When we compare and look, like Jason Hayward might be one of the worst. Chris Davis obviously is the worst. So I always compare to Chris Davis because Chris Davis literally bent Baltimore over, decided to go in dry, and that was it. I mean, I don't think Cody Bellinger was on the brisk of potentially being the next Chris Davis, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So shout out to Atlanta for doing what they're doing.
Yeah. And then the final baseball topic, we'll briefly talk about it. The playoff schedule got released, and it's going to be interesting with in the divisional series and the championship series. They are playing days in a row without a travel day between teams when they travel. So we could see Seattle and New York play. Division series games 4 and 5 are at 2 different places. They could play game 4 in Seattle one night, play a super late game because it's on the West Coast. And then they have to play game 5 the next day in New York. So there's guys are going to be tired, and managing bullpens is going to be way more tougher. You got to make sure you win games in the playoffs. If you wait too long, it could hurt you. And also, you might not be able to get your best starter out an extra game. In the divisional series, I think you could get him like games 1 and 5. But the championship series, you will only get him for twice. There's no chance to have him pitch games 1, 4, and 5. Or 1,
I
4,
think
and
it is
7.
It's going to be tough. We look at 4-man rotations in the playoffs generally, and this is where I was talking about with the Sox. Like I said, they're not one of the hotter teams, but they're competing with the Astros. But the Astros beat up on the Sox today to make up for the other 2 losses, made it a football score as 21-5. But I was looking at the Sox as a potential team to sneak into that Central Division being as bad as it is. And I was like, we don't even have to pitch Lucas Giolito who is clearly on he's slumping a little bit. He's had some good games, got some bad games. Today was a bad game for him. But I was like, we can rock with Dylan Cease. You can rock with Johnny Cueto, Lance Lynn, Michael Kopech. Those four right there all have potential. They're all pitching pretty well. Lance Lynn obviously he came back from his injury and he was a little shaky, but he's still not bad. Now we're like, oh man, with these no traveling or no days in between travel is going to be tough for pitching. Like you said, the bullpen. I would hope they would make it player friendly. If there was a game in Seattle and the next day it's in New York, they do a earlier game in Seattle. Make it a 3 o'clock game. Even 3 o'clock would be still kind of late, and then do a night game in New York. I feel like you would have to do it that way.
Yeah.
Just to not, I mean, going from the West Coast to the East Coast alone, you lose 1, 2, 3. They're 4 hours ahead in New York. Or 3 hours. I'm sorry, 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours.
So that time difference, it makes a difference. You sleep on the plane, that's fine. It's not the same. It's just not the same.
Yeah, you kind of have to hope, especially in the playoffs, you're playing teams closer to your area in hopes of if you get late into a series. But if you play a team that's across the US, you better beat them early in the series and not try to get to game 5.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to get to that point. I feel like at least in the AL, it likely is going to be Astros, Yankees dominating their way through. But baseball's fun. Baseball is we get in playoff baseball, so can't count anybody out just because somebody has the best record in the league. So regular season and postseason, there's two different types of teams that show up. So
Yeah. We're going to move over to the NBA now. We'll start off with LeBron getting a massive extension, 2 years, $97 million. He officially has the most guaranteed money in NBA history, which I was surprised to hear who number 1 was. I'm surprised he wasn't number 1 already, but he overtook Kevin Durant, which KD will end up overtaking him. And there's going to be multiple guys that overtake Kevin Durant. I'm surprised like Steph Curry isn't number 1 with his massive contract that he got before. But LeBron signs a 2-year extension, which this is his last year, and then he has 2 years added on. I believe there is an opt-out, though. It'd be dumb for him to not have an opt-out. He always has opt-outs in his deals, especially the past few years when he could get out of it or restructure his contract. I still think he is going to opt out, though, when Bronny enters the league. So Bronny is going to be a senior this season. He's going to have 1 year of playing professional ball or like college basketball, and then NBA, which would be after the first year of his extension.
and if there's an option, we know he's going to opt out or opt in, depending on where Bronny goes. He's got it laid out perfectly, and I do want to see him and Bronny play. We just don't know. Bronny put up a nasty highlight the other day. He took like the flight of stairs straight up and threw it down, and that
The
was
next
super
kid
nice
might
to
be
see.
better if we want to get into a topic about that, but we'll
That
save
that'll
that
be a
for
topic
another
for
day.
another day. But yes, I do agree with you. But shout out to LeBron, man. I mean, even at his age, performing clearly one of the best in the league, still top 3 last year, maybe top 5. We can safely call it top 5, arguably top 3. I'm excited for the Lakers to see what they do. Anthony Davis can be healthy. I think this is what we saw last year was a huge wake up call. I still think the West is star studded and they're gonna have a tough time again. But that can transition us into this regular season schedule, which was released.
Yeah,
We got
we'll
some
talk
nice.
we'll talk mainly Bulls here due to time, but I'm looking at the Bulls schedule now. Season starts in October. Their home openers against the Cavs. You might be able to find some cheaper type tickets. But it is opening night. First game that came to mind, I was like, oh, the Celtics. That'd be a great one to go to. The one that's I'm eyeing that I would like to attend and see play, I would wanna see James Harden and Joel Embiid play. Even though the
October 29th.
76ers have the Bulls number, I would love to see them play. At least James Harden, like, one more time before
Yeah,
he's
James
becomes
Harden,
bad, I guess.
seen him play at least once. I can't remember if I've seen him play twice. Saw him as a Rocket, killed us, super fun to watch.
I
I
think I
There's a
only
couple
saw
of
him as, like,
games.
a Team USA guy. That might be the only time.
Oh, yeah, I was at that game too. Yeah, 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 that's right. I definitely remember that. There's a few games I'm eyeballing. Um, November 9th, we host the Pelicans.
If Zion's back,
Zion should, I would hope, is back. This dude's throwing down the crazy windmill dunks as soon as they get kicked out of the playoffs. Um,
they play
you know,
back-to-back home games against the Knicks. You don't really see back-to-back games against a team at the same place. I think they did that because of, like, COVID stuff,
before, yeah,
but I
that's
guess they're
really,
continuing that.
it's kind of odd, isn't it?
Mhm.
Of course, Brooklyn, Milwaukee. I am not opposed to making a trip up to Milwaukee finally. We've been talking about it the last couple seasons. I'd like to go visit their stadium. Heard it's super nice. It's one of the newer
Maybe
ones.
against the Lakers, that'd be a great game.
Gotta see. I have yet to see LeBron. So I was very upset with myself that I didn't see Kobe. And LeBron's on that list as well. If I don't see LeBron, I failed as an NBA fan. For
I
sure.
think the tickets are gonna be better in Milwaukee, so let's eye that day and look at ticket prices.
Let's do it. It's a plan. Meet us there.
It is cool again. Last year I started Bucks and Warriors on my birthday, and like a day or so later they played the Bulls. They are playing the Bulls a couple days after my birthday, so
Okay.
I might want to try to go to that game if possible. I'm definitely gonna eye tickets. I saw the Warriors play last year, but they put up a dud, so I would rather see them again. Let's see here. Milwaukee. I guess I gotta look up Milwaukee's schedule because I type in Bulls or Bucks Lakers and it immediately just pulled up their 2022.
Oh
So
man, there is going to
opponent,
be
the
there's
Lakers. December 2nd is when they play the Lakers, a Friday.
and we're talking about Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, the Bulls, I think they play them later in the season. They play them March 29th on a Wednesday. So at that point of the season, I feel like early on, like December in Milwaukee would be better. And you got the guarantee of probably seeing LeBron and AD and whoever before a possible injury.
It's possible. I'm really hoping that's not the case, but with a little bit older LeBron, if anything, might get rest management. I couldn't imagine it as much this year. I feel like he's at the point where he needs that extra run at a title. Anthony Davis, though, can't promise he won't miss half the season. Get him seasoned. Let him play 75% of the games, and then at that point, get him to the playoffs, and I think they'll be okay.
In March 20, yeah, we might as well go early on in the season because let's see how many games after March 29th there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 games. You got to think at this point in the or this at some point this year, LeBron is breaking the regular season points record.
All time.
Yes.
Yep.
So
We
I think
should
he might hit it
probably
beforehand, but if for whatever reason, if that's on the watch, those tickets are unobtainable.
maybe it's good to get him early
Yeah,
and then
that too.
flip them. No.
We could do that too.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we got to imagine he's going to average. I think this year he's going to average 27 points a game again, 28. I know he averaged about 30. We'll say call it 28. And with at that rate of 28 points a game, how many games is it going to be until he's over?
I will tell you that right now. So he is like 1,300. points away right now. So quick math. 13.
46 games.
Ooh. So that's late in the season. That would be
Like what, February? Would we call it
1300.
March?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be 60 plus games into this season. And then the Bucks one's going to be like, I don't know, 20.
20-ish. Unless he has some crazy 40-point games, but even
I don't
then,
know.
that's
We're
only
just
going to
going to
bring
have to
him
keep
down
an
to.
eye on him. But I feel like Milwaukee would be better just because of the location.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the schedule for NBA. Uh, that would be a key matchup. Maybe I would want to see the Timberwolves. Want to see Anthony Edwards at some point. The Mavericks would be cool. I don't really care for the Suns. I don't really like Chris Paul. He's okay. Not like a huge fan of him. Devin Booker, don't care for. The Nets are always cool because I love Kevin Durant. The Clippers could be a decent one.
Memphis could be a solid team as
Memphis,
well.
yeah.
Yeah. Gotta
Memphis could be
see.
definitely with John Morant,
Yep. Yep. John Morant would be an interesting one for sure.
which they play Memphis in April. So that'd
Yep.
be
So we
another
got
late
time.
season. Yeah. A lot of time for that. And then yeah, we'll end off the episode. Deshaun Watson, his suspension gets pushed up to 11 games, which a little strategic because I did read on Twitter that if he plays 6 games, it counts as a full season. So getting suspended for 11 when there's now 17 games played in the NFL.
It's to play
He's
6.
he's still going to get a full season under his belt.
So he's guaranteed
And
his whole contract. Well, he's suspended for the first 11 games without pay.
he's only getting 1 million. He got fined 5 million too, which fine. But he's only getting paid $1 million this year. So it's not
They knew
hurting him
what they were
at
they knew
all.
what they were doing.
It's
They knew
crazy.
what they
This
were
whole
doing.
situation is just ridiculous with how it happened and how the teams in NFL tried acting as if they were doing something right when they were purposely avoiding what was going to happen.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like,
And I know that
yeah,
they
he's only
pushed
getting
for it.
$1 million. Oh man, 11 games. He's suspended. He's only going to get a couple 100,000 now out of $1 million when he got paid 100 something in guaranteed
And
money.
he doesn't lose the signing bonus either.
Yeah. Crazy. That's
It's
that's
nuts how it
that's all I'm
works.
gonna say on that. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous with
it's
what happened with
too
that,
many questions, unanswered questions, right?
and there's nothing
So,
I can do about it. It's
yep.
just ridiculous. I'm glad I am not a Browns fan. I'll say that.
Dude, their franchise literally is a toilet bowl at a like concert. Like it is horrible. It is
I
used
would
and
rather
abused.
have the shit team that they have had and not success compared to the situation now, though, because now you have diehard fans debating if they still want to be a Browns fan.
It is going to get brushed under the table. There have been other players historically that have been in trouble in situations. I think Big Ben was one. Everybody learned to love Big Ben. And I don't know the exact details, so I shouldn't throw his name out there like that.
Yeah.
But there have been other issues. But usually, like Ray Rice, you get blackballed from the league because you're an asshole. Other players that we saw another player beat up his wife or he was an ex-player, so I guess he had no chance of going back anyways. But we see it, and these guys do get blackballed. And then with this, it's like the arguments, oh, these women wanted money. It's like 20 something. Do we really believe that? Like, come on, there's got to be some truth behind their stories. And obviously, we don't know. I don't know for sure. You don't know. Like nobody knows, and that's part of the problem. What we do know is it's a little shady. And the NFL, Roger Goodell was pushing for a full season. Apparently, obviously, he's trying to help his image because he's looked at it as like an ass. So, but they agreed upon 11, and he's not losing a whole lot of money. And we'll see for the Browns. Now, if he ends up bringing a Super Bowl, do you think they're going to forget about it? For sure.
Yeah, it would be bittersweet for a lot of
Bittersweet
fans.
would be the best way. And I'm not saying I would be that way. I just feel
Mhm.
like some
Eh,
fans are very
Also,
diehard.
Big Ben was drafted and won a Super Bowl, like, immediately. This guy
Yeah,
was traded to the franchise with all these allegations behind him already.
yeah,
So, being a
yeah, you're
fan,
right.
I don't know. Like, let's say you got traded to the Bears. I don't know. I might have to get a fandom with a new team.
Hey, Green Bay is always welcoming fans. So they're fun. They're a fun
Hey,
time. Let me
I
tell
do
you,
have
Lambeau's
a
a fun time.
I do have a Brett Favre poster in my room still in Lambeau Field.
Hey, well, I don't blame you for that. At least it's a poster of Brett Favre and not what Brett Favre's notorious for in his
Yeah.
text messages. So,
Oh, yeah.
anyways, that's it for the NFL. NFL season is right around the corner. We will give our predictions for divisional and wild card as usual ritual before the actual start of the season. That won't be next week. Might be the following week. We're gonna discuss. And of course we'll put out polls on Twitter as well for the NFL season. Good luck to everybody drafting in their fantasy leagues in the next couple of weeks. I have a couple of drafts coming up. Wish me luck. I have not won in probably 9 years. I've only won once, even though I know my shit, but somebody always knows more shit than me, and I hate it. But anyways, that's gonna do it, guys. Make sure you're following us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter. We are on TikTok as well, SR Only Pod. You can follow our podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify as well. And then our personal, I'm iGoose with 4 O's on social media. And then Healy.
I am at the Healy6 on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, make sure you leave a like and we will see you guys next week.
Boom.